SMD Law is the official law firm of the Spartan Nation. Check them out on the interwebs at smdalaw.com or at 866-529-3537. No matter where you are in the state of Michigan, Upper Peninsula, Lower Peninsula, it doesn't matter. They have an office near you. So whether you need to send a letter to an annoying neighbor, or you're a criminal and you need defense, maybe you just have problems with elder law, check them out, smdalaw.com today. The official law firm of the Spartan Nation. Call them first, then you act.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to Spartan Nation Radio. It is great to have you. We are now going out to speak to Spartan Nation senior writer Johnny Shop. We love talking to Johnny. He always has great stuff. And, man, we got a lot to talk about with Spartan football. Now, last week when he was on the show, it was before the staff changes. Well, that's not even a fair word. Staff realignment. Let's now bring him in, John Shop. John wants your unvarnished opinion. Your thoughts on Mark D'Antonio's shuffling of the staff?
Well, it certainly was interesting. I don't remember anybody quite doing anything like it before. It seems to be a risky play. Trying to keep an open mind about it. There's some stuff that appears to me to be probably an upgrade. There's a couple moves that don't seem to make any sense. And there's some disappointment that it's not that nobody was held accountable, but that no real new blood is coming into this operation. So do I like what they did versus going to get Kevin Wilson, Matt Canada, Mike Denbach, or another name? No, I'd rather have seen them go another way. I don't buy the concept that it was going to take 1 month to fill this position if it was an open offensive coordinator show. I don't buy that at all. I think they could have had it filled in less than a week. There's a lot of people that would love to work at Michigan State as an offensive coordinator. So if you want to take a look at it spot by spot, I think that some of it was maybe good, some of it's bad, and some of it, at least one move, is pretty puzzling to me.
All right. Break them down. Tell me what you thought of each move.
Well, it's interesting that Brad Salem gets to be the offensive coordinator. As you talked about, and we've talked about at Spartan Nation before, the key is he running his offense or the D'Antonio offense? And I think that they're complicating Brad Salem as offensive coordinator because now he's got at least two guys on the staff who have coordinated and called plays before. And are they all going to line up behind Brad Salem, or are they going to start to splinter a bit? I don't know. So I don't have a problem with the Brad Salem move. I don't have a problem with Jim Bowman move, although I thought that if it was time for him to retire, that he would, that would be okay too. I don't have a problem with it, but I'm not excited about it. Terrence Samuel move is really a head scratcher to me. It seems like he's been demoted, and I don't know that that's completely fair given the fact that he wasn't throwing the ball wildly this year, and his guys are really responsible for blocking, but not at the point of attack, obviously. So that's strange to me. I don't know. Perhaps Terrence Samuel wants to move in line to take a head coaching job someday, and that may be a good move. And maybe this is something we're going to see often, where guys are shuffled over to the freshman head coach for a year. But I don't know that that's a great idea. Mark Staten to the tight end is a move that concerns me a bit because it just suggests that there's not a lot of accountability. The special teams title for him, I don't know why they even gave that title. Special teams is turning around at Michigan State. I like what's going on now a lot. I like the analyst that's there, Shane Graham for Virginia Tech. So I don't know about that. And I don't know how you can send Dave Warner back to be a quarterback's coach. That one and the Staten move puzzle me the most. But this is a wild card situation. I don't know how we can expect anything too terribly different than what we've seen in the recent past to occur. I think there's too many old parts in the engine that have been shifted around and not enough new blood that comes in. That's my initial perception of it. I'm willing to keep an open mind, but when you look around the country at what other folks have done, Michigan State is doing something extraordinarily different.
Here's the thing that made no sense to me. You talked about accountability. So people get new titles, but everyone gets paid the most, and some of them are going to get raises. How does that even get justified with the offensive staff?
It doesn't. That's why I don't understand how there wasn't some dead weight that was just cut. I don't know how you can. That's going to cause potentially internal splintering. Look, the coaches that are on this staff appear to be rather humble, rather grateful to be here. I hope that they're not going to complain publicly, but you've got salaries staying the same and positions. This is a strange mix. I think they would have been better off cutting out some dead weight, cutting out guys that have been here for this long and have done what they have done, and going to another direction. So what's Brad Salem going to do now? Is he going to have to coach the quarterbacks and the running backs and coordinate the offense? It's concerning to me that they don't have a running backs coach. It's concerning that there are guys that have not had success who just got reassigned. I don't understand how that's going to move anything forward. I'm all for continuity, but you can do continuity and bring in some new blood. Guys commit to the program first, and I think that the coach is second. The Big Ten East is up for grabs right now. It's up for grabs right now, Hondo. We got a new quarterback at Penn State. We got changes at Michigan. We got a massive change at Ohio State. We got shuffling at Michigan State. That's the answer to this. The Big Ten East, the power in the league, is up for grabs right now. And I'm talking about the power over the next 5 to 10 years. What did Michigan State do to move back in a position where they could compete for the division each year? I don't think they did very much at all. Time will tell, but how much could they have really done here? I don't know. It would be stunning to me if all of a sudden we're here a year from now and Michigan State has an offense that ranks in the top third in the country. That would be a complete stunner.
John, I want to get into a couple of things because I think it's important. I think Jim Bollman is where he should have been all along. When he got to Michigan State, you know this, we were the only one reporting that he was working the offensive line. And D'Antonio,
Huge.
I'm sorry?
Yeah, that was huge, too.
Yep.
It was effective when he was doing it.
But I remember, because people are like, no, he's not, and I kept reporting, yes, he is. Well, you saw D'Antonio admit it the other day. And so he's back where he is, and he's an offensive line genius. To me, he is the best offensive line coach since Dan Rochar. This is a major upgrade. When they would point to the success of the offensive line, I kept telling people, oh, by the way, yes, but it was Jack Conklin who benefited from Bollman. It was the Allens benefited from Bollman early. This is a brilliant move. Brad Salem is where he should have been, so I have no problem with this. But when you don't make any changes, and here's my question. If change is so bad, then why does Nick Saban want 25% change on his staff each year so he can bring in new blood from people that he thinks are innovative? I don't understand how there can be such diversity of opinion. I mean, it works very good at Alabama. It works at other places. Look at what Oklahoma did. They fired the head coach's mentor and brother as a coordinator and made it to the playoff. We know what Brett Bielema did at Wisconsin. We know it's so many of these other. I don't get it. I'm not ripping D'Antonio. I'm not calling for his job. I just don't understand it.
Yeah, I don't really understand it either. And my feeling is around the sport, people don't understand it. It seems like it's kind of a wild card, but it just, I don't get it. You know, you look at Kevin Wilson in Indiana, they had a lot of success against Michigan State. A lot of success moving the ball. The guy is out there. We don't know where he's going. I don't know if he was considered at all. Matt Canada is a guy floating around. Obviously, he may not be around forever, but what is forever? This sport is becoming more and more a 1 or 2 year sport. Just look at what happened in the national title game. You got a quarterback that replaced another one the year before in the national title game, and then you got a true freshman that replaced Kelly Bryant earlier in the year. The sport is changing, and it looks like Michigan State is digging their heels in. That's a bold move. If they've dug their heels in and this doesn't work well at all, it's not that anyone's going to be calling for Mark D'Antonio's job. It's that he's going to put himself in position for that to begin to occur. And that is unfortunate, and it's why this move is risky, because if this doesn't work, he's putting himself in position for that to start to be in the air. Well, is it about time for this guy to retire or make a change because he's dug his feet in and we've gone nowhere? That's the concern. I think that we're probably going to know pretty quickly. They've got that issue and they've got the quarterback issue that they have got to resolve. And again, this is what I want to know. Is this going to be a staff decision or is this going to be an offensive coordinator decision? Because that decision is going to have such a major impact on whether they are at the end of next September or the coming September in good shape, or whether they are at the end of September with the ship taking on a lot of water.
Here's the deal. You know this. I really like Brian Lewerke. He is a great kid. I don't think they helped him with no competition. Nope, Brian's our guy. I mean, listen, I know that it bothered defensive guys. I know it bothered some offensive guys. And I know it bothered some staff. Not because anyone dislikes Brian, but they're all like, listen, this guy needs to compete. There needs to become, it'll be good for him. If I was D'Antonio, and I'm sure that Brian's my guy, I still would have come out and said it's an open competition.
Yeah, and it again, the sport is changing, and that's the problem. It's changing at the top. We've seen it at Georgia, 2 5-star quarterbacks transferring out. We've seen it at Ohio State. We've seen it at Clemson, obviously, during the season. So that mentality, it's not just that it was kind of flawed, it's that it got old extraordinarily fast. In the span of 24 months, it got to be ancient. So the concept that there's not an open competition for the Michigan State quarterback position from this day would be extremely bad.
Well, and I'm going to tell you something. If I'm D'Antonio, I'm just like, listen, I think Brian Lewerke's our guy, but he has to go out and win it. He and Rocky and Theo Day and the new kid coming in are all going to compete. Best one's going to get the job. It's wide open just like every other position. That's exactly how I would have approached it. But now he doesn't want to give the keys to a proven offensive coordinator from somewhere else, but he just gave the keys to a kid that didn't play well even when he wasn't injured.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I would be extremely concerned if as soon as winter practice or winter workouts formally begin, that's the attitude Michigan State needs to take. If it's good enough for Clemson, if it's good enough for Alabama, if it's good enough for Georgia, they are the top of those are the programs at the top of the sport right now. Oklahoma is batting it around there as well. That's the way it needs to be. Because I don't want to bring it up again, but Brian Lewerke either has the yips and they will continue and we will see them during September play next year, or he was injured and they have yet to explain it. They've yet to explain what the injury is, whether it needs surgery, when it happened, how it affected him. This is a confusing, and it's not just confusing to us around Spartan Nation. I think it's confusing to the people around college football. I don't think anyone really has a handle on what's going on here. So not only do they need to open the competition, they need to come clean and basically explain, here's what happened to this guy relative to an injury. Otherwise, they are hurting themselves, and they're also hurting a potential career for Brian Lewerke. There is a cloud over his play right now as to what happened this year. What were some of those throws that we saw in the bowl game? What kind of arm injury could this be, if it's an injury, or is it the other thing? So they got big questions, and they just added more questions by staying in-house and doing the musical chairs. But when I look at this schedule, as I'm looking at it right now, at the end of the game against Indiana, what kind of operation are we going to be looking at? Are we going to be looking at a team that is somehow 5-0? Are we going to be looking at a team that is 2-3? And what kind of offense are we going to be looking at? If those things go the wrong way for this team, and they can go the wrong way from bad quarterback play or from really no progress relative to the offense, although I definitely think there will be some progress, as you talked about, because of that offensive line. But if this is a team that is 2-3 or 3-2, it's not going to be a lot of fun come October 5th at Columbus when things get real.
I agree. He's a great Spartan Nation senior writer, John Schott. We'll be back. Writer John Schott. We'll be back. Writer